Well, good afternoon folks, and welcome to another review video. Welcome back to the channel. We are in the South Atlantic and you are looking at St. Helena Island. This is a new scenery for PREPAR3D versions 4 and 5 by a developer called Project Max, available on Sim Market. I'll put up the details. It essentially recreates the island of St. Helena, which is part of the British Overseas Dependency Territory series of St. Helena, Tristan da Cunha and Ascension Island. So before we go any further, there's something that PREPAR3D version 4 users should be aware of. When I ran the installer, it wanted to create a PREPAR3D version 5 folder underneath my version 4 installation, so I stopped the install. Now there is a way around this, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So there's a little bit of manual work involved, but it really shouldn't be a problem. But it will allow you to get the scenery to work in PREPAR3D version 4 without it having to look really kind of strange in the way that it's installed, sort of layer by layer below each other. So we'll go into that now and I'll show you how to do it. So let me start by stressing this procedure is for version 4, PREPAR3D version 4 plus only. It should work straightforward if you have version 5 plus. I haven't tried that. Maybe someone might let me know in the comments how that works. But in any event, all you need to do is do a little bit of manual work here. Okay, so the first thing to do is to locate your PREPAR3D version 4 installation. Now for me, it's in Program Files, Lockheed Martin, PREPAR3D version 4. Here you are. Here's the subfolder with all the bits and pieces. So right click, create a new folder first. Let's call it St. Helena FHSH. Okay, so there we are. There's the folder that the scenery is going to go into, hopefully. So having created that folder, right click on the setup file, run as administrator, and you should get this. Obviously if your computer's networked to several others, you might want to think carefully about this, but for me, I'm the only user, so click that, minimize this, click OK, and now up comes this. Now you see it's found my Lockheed Martin folder, but it's calling it PREPAR3D version 4, version 5. So basically we need to just locate the folder we've just created. So it's browse, Lockheed Martin, PREPAR3D version 4 for me, go down here, and there's our folder. So we click on that, click OK. Now if you see what it does here, okay, the path is correct and it's going to add a P5 folder underneath. That's not a problem. I'll show you what we do after that. So you hit next. It's going to call this Max FSH. You can change that name if you want to. I suggest you leave it so you can memorize it and just know what you're looking at. So click next, click install, and there we go. Okay, and it installs onto your computer, and if you were to check add remove programs, your programs, it'll be listed there. So having completed the install, now all we need to do is go back to where we installed it. So for me, Program Files, Lockheed Martin, PREPAR3D version 4. Now there's the folder, St. Helena. We click in there, you can see it's created a subfolder PREPAR3D version 4.5. Inside there you've got two other folders. You've got the Project Max that contains the scenery, and a folder there that contains two effects. And there's obviously the uninstall files. You needn't worry about these for the moment, it's not really a problem. So having created this directory here, first thing to do, go into the effects folder, click cut, and then go to P3D version 4, and up here you'll find the effects folder. There it is, and click paste. Now obviously I've already installed them, so that's why I'm getting this through. You want to replace them. So there you go, you got the effects files have been installed. So we go back up again, go back to our St. Helena folder, P3D version 4.5. There's our effects folder. We can now delete that because it's empty. Now if we go inside Project Max, here's the folder we just saw, and inside that is the scenery and texture itself plus the documentation file. So there's the folder that contains the scenery and the texture file along with the documentation. Now we really don't need it leveled all the way down to this. Okay, you really only need one level. So highlight the scenery, texture and the documentation, click cut, go up to your St. Helena folder, click paste. Okay, so now we have this scenery installed just as it would in any other installation, and we can now delete the PREPAR3D version 5 folder. We don't need it, we don't need the contents. So we now have a standard PREPAR3D version 4 installation. Okay, here's the path to my installation. You could, for example, stick it in there, add on scenery. I mean, we've got other airports that I've got in there. Look, you could create the same St. Helena folder in there and do exactly the same process, but I've chosen to do it in the main one. So we've created our St. Helena folder, and like every other scenery, underneath that you've got your scenery and texture and your documentation. So there we are. So that's been added, and now all you have to do is simply add it to your scenery library in the usual way. So as per the image in the upper right there, you just simply add the scenery to your scenery installation, like any other scenery does. Simply click add, and browse to the St. Helena main folder you created and simply add that, and the scenery should show up just as we're looking at it now. So as I said, this is the scenery for St. Helena Island Airport. Foxtrot Hotel, Sierra Hotel. It's an international airport located on the island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic. It's part of the British Overseas Territories. So this costs, you can obtain it from Sim Market, currently at €8.40, which I think is a pretty good price considering what we've got here. And that equates to US $9.20 or £7.04 UK. Download is 60 meg, and it installs into your installation wherever you decide to put it at 307 meg. As I said, it's available at Sim Market. They do have a website, www.projectmax. Unfortunately, when I try to access it, I get this site can't be reached. So but there is an email address should you need any support, but hopefully that should be okay. That's what you've got. So available for Sim Market at quite a decent price. So let's get down and have a close look at what we've got here. Okay, so this isn't a huge scenery in terms of the airport as such. They've done a nice little job. We've got some nice little bits and pieces here, nothing really serious. Airport buildings have been set up there nicely. Everything's on photo scenery, but looks quite pleasant. Most of this install, I think, comes down to installing the island photoreal textures and reshaping it. Got the control tower there, looks quite pleasant. And there you've got your fuel heating bits and pieces there. As you travel back across the ramp, you can see they've got some nice details on the ground. Ground textures look quite nice. Okay, the whole thing's fairly basic compared with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, which is what I spend most of my time in these days. But I thought it'd be nice to have a look at this scenery because it's quite a rare place to go to. It has some history. And that history, well, St. Helena Airport is an international airport on the island of St. Helena, which is a remote island in the South Atlantic, part of the British Overseas Territory, as I said. The construction of the runway wasn't finished until 2015. The airport opened properly in 2016. Initial or inaugural flights were delayed due to all sorts of things, and basically unable for aircraft unable to get in to begin with, and you get a lot of wind shear and also an interesting winds off these mountain sides here. Landing here can be quite a challenge. But anyway, the airport began scheduled services in October 2017 with South African carrier Airlink started a weekly service from Oliver Tambo International in Joburg. They used to use an Embraer 190 and it went via Walvis Bay Airport in Namibia. So as you can see, it's been fairly extensively mapped here. And just to give you some idea of what they've done, they talk about custom imagery all over the island, so that probably takes up most of this scenery. Custom ground poly based on the January 2022 layout, which is what you got below. Custom autogen all over the island. Custom terrain mesh, detailed apron areas. Well, the apron areas are detailed, but not that detailed. It's my opinion. Dynamic lighting, night textures. Right, we'll look at that in a second. Detailed landside, custom rate from vehicles, and frame rate friendly. All of that's fairly true. I can quite understand that. So let's drop this down to dusk and have a look at these dynamic night lighting and night textures. So here we are at dusk. This is summer on a clear day, and as you can see, those textures look really nice. This airport looks quite nice. Looks a lot, to me, in my opinion, looks a lot better at dusk than it does during the day, but we'll see. Let's get a close-up look at the ramp area. So this lighting looks beautiful. I have to say, it's really impressive at dusk. Look at the lights, the way they shine, and they light up the area there. I mean, okay, this place with the winds, if you're flying real weather, could be a challenge to land, as it is in the real world. But coming down in the evening, wow, doesn't this look nice? There's your fire station. Ground textures and the ground lights look so much better. I mean, that looks really nice. Nice, sharp, crisp lettering there. The lighting on the ground really does make a difference. Love the way it shines. Really dynamic. There's the fire station. And the control tower looks very, very nice indeed. And there you can see the textures on the side of the building a lot better in this light. Have a look at the control tower. Don't think there's anything inside, but we'll have a look. No, there you go, nothing inside. Let's look at the land side. So there you go. That's the land side development as far as they've said. And again, the buildings just look, it looks so much better at this time of the day. Don't know why that is, but it does. There's the VOR station, and I love the lights. So we just traversed the landside area again, and we'll come up a little bit just to give you a flavour of what's here. I mean, okay, this is a basic scenery. It's not very expensive, and they haven't gone mad with it. But it's nice, and it looks perfectly usable. And in the dusk, as you can see, it looks a lot better. The lighting really brings this little place to life. Really, really nice. And the terrain looks fantastic. So let's get a look at the runways. So here we are looking down the throat of runway 02. As you can see, you've got approach lighting. There are PAPIs there. Actually, according to the charts, runway 02 is RNAV and VOR only. But runway 20, that's the other end we'll look at in a minute, has a localizer DME and an RNAV and a VOR approach, according to the charts. So here are looking at runway 20, the other end. As I said, runway 20 has a localizer DME, RNAV, and an RMP approach and a VOR approach as part of the charts. So there's a quick overview from high altitude, just to give you an overview or a flavour of the island. I've got some lighting slightly there off the airport. It just does look really pleasant. So let's switch to night mode and have a look and see if there's any real change. Okay, the same high altitude view there, but as you can see we're now in total darkness and you can't see an awful lot except the airport. Well, let's get down and have a closer look and see how it looks. So the runway's well lit, which is good. There's a VOR station there to the right, and as we go in towards the terminal, the lighting in the terminal and ramp area is good, just as you expect it to be. And the blue airfield edge lighting is very marked as well. So you shouldn't have too much of a problem landing here at night. Although, as I said, landing in St. Helena is a challenge anyway. But it does look pleasant. Looks really pleasant. Ramp markings are excellent. The lighting just brings it to life. I mean, I really like it. Looks lovely at dusk. And as you can still see the airport buildings reasonably well even in the total darkness. It really does look pleasant. It's a lovely little piece of work, and yeah, very nice indeed. So let's have a look at dawn. Bear in mind the sun should be sort of somewhere behind us. Let's have a look. So here we are at dawn, and you can see still got the lights on. The whole area looks pretty pleasant, to tell you the truth. So there you go. It's not a huge scenery, but it is very nice. Pleasantly done, and it gives you the airport as it is on this interesting island that's located out in the South Atlantic. So if you've got scenery for ascension and things like that, I mean, it's an interesting place to go. So let's just have a rise sort of high up and have a high look at the terrain, just so you can see. They've obviously done quite a bit of work here to get the terrain looking the way it does. And yes, this airport really does sit on a plinth, literally right off a cliff face. It's very nice. For PREPAR3D, it's really nice. I should imagine it looks slightly better in version 5. I'm not sure, maybe somebody can let me know in the comments. But the cliffs and the boulders and the mountains and the ruggedness of the whole thing's been nicely portrayed in this scenery, and very, very pleasant indeed. Love to see something like this done for Flight Simulator 2020. Okay, conclusions. It's a nice scenery. I'm a little bit sort of mixed up about the installation procedure. You really shouldn't have to be playing around with all of this. The installer really should do it for you. It's quite easy to detect which version somebody's got from of PREPAR3D simply by looking at the registry. So the installer could be better, and it would negate the need for having to play about with folders to begin with. That's really my only big bugbear with this scenery. Having said that, it's for version 4 and 5, which is a big plus. The price is excellent. €8 is really good, just under $10, just over £7. That's excellent. For that you get the whole island done in great detail, airport there with all the things that you need, interesting place to fly to, located way out in the South Atlantic. Download's perfectly acceptable, 60 meg and 307 meg. Well, I would expect that with the amount of terrain you've got here. But they've done a nice job. Visually it looks very, very nice. Okay, the airport's fairly simple, but you've got everything you need, and it really does come to life in the darkness, in the low light. So that would be interesting. So as I said, it's available at Sim Market now. Sceneries by Project Max for PREPAR3D version 4 and 5. And yes, I like it. It's very nice. So thanks for joining me on this review, hopefully a fairly short one. Thought I'd have a look at this because it is a little bit different. If you've got any comments, be happy to discuss them in the comment section below. This is Lee, Virtual Airline Pilot, finishing up another review, this time in PREPAR3D, St. Helena Island in the South Atlantic by Project Max, available now at Sim Market. So thanks for joining me, hope you enjoyed the review, and I will see you in the next video. So bye for now.